Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey Fab folks, and welcome. So it is Thursday morning, and we have the pre-release basically hitting tomorrow. We should see basically the whole set in the next, 24 to 36 hours or so, depending on how your sleep schedule goes and how long it takes people to get stuff updated and so on and so on. I don't expect them to update the site probably until the site I'm showing. I don't expect that to get updated until probably pre-release weekend's over, just from like a surprise standpoint. But I mean, we all know how the internet works. We should have a pretty good idea of all the cards in the set. I'm sure we'll see the Fable get popped probably some point Saturday. Anyway, so today I have a break in between meetings. I'm just really excited about this weekend. I just wanted to sit and kind of shoot the S about it. Kind of on what I expect to see this weekend in terms of what's good. I'm already bumbling around. You guys know that I usually have a kind of a script and a plan. Well, all I want to do today really just is kind of share my thoughts about what I think is going to be good this weekend, and really just kind of run through and kind of talk about just what I'm excited about and not. So, like I said, there's no formal plan for today, just kind of hanging out and talking about it. And I realize I'm not talking because I'm shooting a video, I get it, but anyway, let's go ahead and start going really just through this, and we'll kind of talk about the points as we go. I mean, the first point, it's appropriate that Illusionist is at the top, because I really think that she's in the best position, she being Prism. I think Illusionist is in the best position this weekend in a sealed format, especially in a limited format, but especially sealed. Because you can't even, in draft, you can kind of focus in a little bit and hone in on something. And I think Prism is probably, without a doubt, the favorite this weekend, I would think. I mean, it's going to be real hard when you open your packs, because, let's go ahead and start scrolling through some of her stuff, right? Most of her her haymakers, right? I made that whole video about the haymakers, right? Most of her stuff's rare and commons, right? So you've got, Triumph is rare. We have... And then starting with Protection. So we have Protection is common, Ravages is common, Rebirth is common, Herald of Tenacity is common, and of course it sounds like I've got a freaking docking going outside. It's like a dump truck or something, whatever, sorry about that. And then Wartune Herald, which is amazing, is a common. It's going to be very hard when you're opening your packs this weekend to not just see like, wow, I've got 6 2-for-7s and 1 1-for-7. Like, I'm just going to drop. It's real. I think it's real hard not to do, especially when your opponents are going to be more limited on their 6s. I just find I don't know. That's like I said. And I don't mean this in an aggressive way, but like I challenge anybody to convince me that playing Illusionist this weekend's not just and again, it's like I said, not an aggressive way when I say challenge, but like convince me that going with the 2-for-7s and the 1-for-7s is going to be better or is going to be worse than like any other strategy out there. I just don't see it. She's really good. And then, let's go on down to Illusionist, but this card, right, the Dreamweavers, it's a common too, and granted it's sealed, you don't have any control over whether you get it or not, but like, even if you were playing draft or something this weekend, like, I don't see how you just don't draft it. Like, if the Dreamweavers comes to you, I think you take it. And I think if it comes to you again, you take it again just to prevent somebody else from getting it, right? Like, because turning for nothing, right? This card's amazing, right? You just turn the one weakness that you have into not being a weakness anymore. And her weapons basically, I think her weapon's worthless in draft, excuse me, I just stopped doing that. I think her weapon's worthless in limited, but I don't think it matters because her cards are going to be so easy to get in a limited format. I mean, you're going to have I mean, again, so remember LSS does the thing in the packs where they put the certain amount of each class. Like, you're going to have enough to play her in your sealed, right? And I think it's going to be very hard to turn down the 1 for 7s and the 2 for 7s when your opponents don't have the same number of 6s. So, all right, let's go talk about my boy Bolton here. I think he's going to, so he'll have his axes. Let's go down to the axes. Now I'm kind of scrolling all over the place here. Like I said, there's no plan, just kind of hanging out and throwing my ideas out. So the 2 axes, this one I think he's going to be okay to play. It's just really going to depend on how much charge you get, right? Because remember, these don't have natural go again. You do have Dusk Path Pilgrimage, but that lets you attack with, like, the Dusk Path Pilgrimage is more of the Raiden move. And remember, Raiden is a Majestic. So honestly, I think if you do pull Raiden, I think that there's an argument to be made for trying to play Bolton over Illusionist. But I think it's even a hard argument, and that's like the if. I mean, you have in sealed with your 6-packs, you have a pretty low chance of getting that specific Majestic, right? I mean, just by odds, you should only, in your 6-packs, you should only get 1 Majestic, maybe 1 in change because of the way foils work, right? But on average, you're only going to have 1 Majestic. So in order to get a specific Majestic, it's just not going to happen for you, right? So you're stuck with the axes with Bolton. And then from there, I think it really just depends on how many of the charges you get. Now, Take Flight's still not in here. I think Take Flight's a common and a fantastic common. Like I said, I don't have images. I'm just doing this, so it's not in here. But it's a 1 for 4 red, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, 1 for 2. We assume that you can charge, and it has natural go again. So that one would be obviously a great card. And again, it's a common, so it should be flying around out there. And I think you play it no matter what its pitch level is. That one should be really strong for Bolton. But again, that's 1, 2, that's a 2-card hand, right? It's a 3-card hand because you have to have take charge, you have to charge, and you have to be able to pitch to pay for it and the subsequent axes. So, best case scenario with that, it's a 3-card hand for a 3 wide. It would be take charge, axe 1, axe 2. So, I mean, I think that's doable because, again, I think you should have a couple take flights. Probably you're going to get 1 or 2 take flights, maybe. If you're lucky, I guess. I guess maybe not. I mean, you're only going to get maybe 18 to 20 warrior cards. So maybe you don't. But there's cards out there like I like Bolt of Courage. Valiant Thrust seems amazing, right? If you could get like a Valiant, take charge in a Valiant Thrust and, screw the axes, that seems pretty good too, because then this one's swinging for +3 on whatever pitch level you have. So anyway, in the end here, I think Bolton's okay. But again, I just don't see him. I mean, just functionally, like, I just don't see him being easier to play than Illusionist, but. I don't know. And then remember, your light guys just have these, like, in limited play, an Illuminate 0 for 4 is great, right? A card like that's fantastic. A Rising Solar Tide in limited, which is a 1 for 5, is fantastic. So, yeah. Blinding Beam also is a common, right? So there's a good chance that you're going to get 1 or 2 of those Blinding Beams just to help you out on the Illusionist side. There's nothing that really pops to me here. I mean, again, maybe you get an Enigma Chimera. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the pack distributions work, but I mean, it should be pretty well distributed, I would think, to make draft work. Shadow Brute. I think she's in a rough spot. So again, let's go down and remind what the generic weapon is, right? So the generic weapon for Brute. Oh, did I pass it? No, there it is. So it's the Ravenous Meat Axe. So that's not bad, right? We do know that repeatable, non-permanent cost weapons are really strong in limited. So the Meat Axe isn't horrible, but you're milling yourself. And I mean, we know that mill is a real thing in limited, right? Because it's 30 card decks, right? So milling's relevant with the way blocking works and stuff like that. So, and that, I think fundamentally that's one of the things in limited that makes your repeat. So let me back up. One of the things in limited that makes your repeatable weapon so good is the fact that it doesn't, like I said, positively or permanently cost you anything, right? That pitch card you keep in your deck as a resource, and you can apply pressure that they have to block. So it costs them cards. And I think that's why, in this case, I think the Ravenous Meat Axe really puts her in a rough spot, because it doesn't do that for you. It still has a permanent cost. And you add that on top of the other things with her. And I don't know, we'll have to see. But I think it's going to be really hard for her to get what she needs. And then going back up to her, sorry, I'm just jamming the mouse wheel right now, sorry. But again, the blood debt, I think, is really, when you can't optimize, and this will be relevant for Chain too, but when you can't optimize your combos in Sealed, the blood debt, I think, becomes really impactful. Not I think, like, I'm confident blood debt becomes really impactful. So I don't see how, when you're in the Sealed format and like you have a pretty equal distribution of cards, I don't see how Levia, I don't see how she excels over. I mean, there's a lot of work you have to put in for like an Endless Maw and stuff like that, as opposed to just like dropping a 2 for 7. And then we're having to worry about the permanent blood debt, because again, you don't necessarily have all the pieces that you would need for the normal blood debt type strategy. I'm gonna put myself out there here. I'm gonna venture and say that she's basically unplayable in Sealed. That's what I think. I think she's basically unplayable in Sealed. Chain, on the other hand, I think he's still at a huge disadvantage, again, because of the argument that all of his pieces, you won't have all of his pieces, and there's a couple cards, like, to make him sing, like, he looks really, really scary in Constructed, and sorry, not just Classic Constructed, but he looks really, really scary in Blitz too. But again, you don't have a lot of what makes him scary is some of the stuff from the previous sets, right? So you don't have access to that. You don't have access to all of his pieces even within this set. He still suffers from the blood debt problem. Now, granted, he has a lot more cards that he can play from the Banish Zone, which gives him a little more flexibility, and that's why I don't think he's I don't think he's like Levia. Like, I don't think he's unplayable. I think you could very well play him this weekend, but I think that you're still fighting an uphill battle. And again, I propose that question. It's like, are you going to try to, play a swing? Are you going to swing, poop out a token that's going to hurt you for the rest of the game, and then play something else? Or would you rather just play a 2 for 7? I mean, that's... So that's... I mean, he's going to be really cool, though, because he can... I think he's going to be he might be better than Boltyn. He might be easier to play than Boltyn. The exception being that in terms of functional play, he might be probably more fun to play than Boltyn, because like Boltyn needs some pretty specific pieces, and I think that him being able to create the token to give Go Again gives him a little more flexibility. But he loses access to the general light cards. I mean, obviously he has access to the shadow cards, but those 0/4s, those 1/5s that are just commons that you're going to be getting in your packs, he can't play. This card's fantastic. I mean, like I said, he might actually be better than Boltyn in Sealed. I don't know. I mean, let's put them. I guess if we can't decide, we put them on the same tier, right? But I think it's very, very clearly Illusionist, and then somewhere in here is Boltyn versus. I mean, I'm pretty sure Boltyn has the edge just because of. Actually, yeah, I am. I'm confident Boltyn has the edge because of not having blood, not because of. Boltyn has the edge because he doesn't have blood debt. I think that's the difference here. And in order to, so Chain can pull off some pretty cool stuff when he poops out the token, but again, that hurts you. I mean, we already talked about how decking is quite relevant in Sealed or in limited formats in general. Going down to, did we already go past Shadow? We did. I skipped over Generic Shadow. Oh, yeah, it's right here. I mean, these legendary, like there's 3 legendaries in there. There's Majestics. We haven't seen all of them yet, but I mean, there's some cool stuff, again, just from being able to play it from Banish Zone. I mean, there's definitely some moves there. Like I said, I think Chain's better positioned for that, especially with the way that his sequencing works, that it goes in, you gives Go Again, and then it goes in the beginning of the turn, so you actually can feed yourself, and then Blood Debt triggers the end of the turn, it goes in the beginning of the turn, and then you can potentially feed yourself and get it back in your discard before it even triggers, and that's why Levia, I think, is just screwed in terms of that. But I mean, there's nothing here that's super awesome. I mean, there's big hitters, and yeah, I don't know. Going into, and this card's great, right? This card is fantastic for Runeblade. So, like I said, I don't want to undersell Runeblade. I think he's at a disadvantage because of the Blood Debt. I think he could work, right? If you got some sexy pieces, see what you can do with him, right? And try him out. I mean, why not? It's a pre-release weekend, like, right? Just go for it. But I find it very hard to believe that it's not going to be illusion, blocking illusion into an illusion, blocking another illusion. Cards, the generic cards are going to be awesome. This card is great. Outmuscle's fantastic. Rise Above. Now that's a rare. So Outmuscle's a rare. Rise Above is a rare. So you're not necessarily going to get these. So let's go focus more on the commons. This card right here, Brandish, I think is another reason that Boltyn might be okay. Brandish is actually pretty good. I actually like the blue. I mean, so to be clear, it's not great in like a constructed or something like that, but for limited, I think Brandish, like, that's pretty good, right? So the 2-pitch, the 2-pitch and the 3-pitch, like swinging 2 and 1, making them burn a card at the minimum, and like if it hits, so then they're gonna block it. Has Go Again anyway. It's only 1. So then you can swing, and like, sure, you're not necessarily maximizing what you would like to do, and there's not a huge payoff for it anyway, but like, it's a functional card for somebody with a weapon. And then again, you're dropping 1 card permanently. You're pitching 1 card that you'll get back for 2 swings that they have to worry about. And then you're almost forcing them to overblock, especially if it's like the blue pitch, the 3-pitch. So like, I like Brandish. The Belittle, I mean, again, it's you don't have control over what you get. So the whole Belittle and Minnowism thing, like, that's, it's kind of, they're cool cards. I don't know if you'll be able to get them necessarily. Surging Militia, I think you play all of these if you get them. I mean, again, you're going to be playing most of your generics anyway, I would think. I mean, generally that's what I find is, like, most of your generics end up going in just to fill out your 30 because it's either that or baubles, right? So this card's really cool, though. Surging Militia I really like. This one, what is this one? I think I missed this one. Well, it's attacking and you control an aura. Okay. That's not, I mean, it's 0 though. So I think you probably put it in. Minnowism, definitely. I mean, Minnowism, you're playing like crazy. And then Warmonger's Recital costs 1. Next attack action, you play this. Turn gains, and if it hits, put it into the bottom of your deck. Yeah, you're definitely playing that one. Memorial Ground, maybe. I mean, again, if it's that or a bauble, you're probably playing it. So, yeah, interesting. So, like I said, I'm just kind of sitting here and chatting and figured I'd throw it up because why not? Low editing too, right? So, again, I'm very excited for this weekend. I do think that I'm very excited for it on the cards. I do think that it's probably not going to be one of the better. It just looks to me like, from a sealed standpoint, it's not going to be one of the better type of events than, you compared to, like, I mean, we had a great time with our Arcane Rising sealed. Was fantastic. We've had good times in the past with Welcome to Wrathe. And I like it's to be a good time. Like, you're playing Fab, you're with your friends, like, it's going to be a good time. Like, don't get me wrong there. I'm not underselling it anyway. I'm very excited for both of the ones I have access to this weekend. But I think in terms of seeing different people, different heroes in the field, I don't know that we're going to see that this time around. But I don't know, maybe people will surprise me and they'll play what they want, or in terms of who speaks to them for the future, who they were looking forward to playing to in the set. I just really feel that there's going to be a lot of illusionists. Like, it seems pretty, yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, I feel like I've popped my point home. All right, so I've got a little extra time here, and I was taking some notes on the card. Yeah, here we go. I found it. So the cards I'm most looking forward to, for me, the cards I'm hoping to pull. Interestingly enough, so I'm going to put together an illusionist deck. Early is what I'm saying. Like in this meta, I'm going to focus in on both of the light classes, but I'm going to put together an illusionist deck, but I'm not going to spend much money on the illusionist deck. And the reason is that it can mostly be budget, again, for what we talked about before, in that most of her, like, with the exception of the card I've been calling FUNA, right? Celestial FUNA, Celestial Beatdown. With the exception of that card, which I think you definitely want to play with her, I think you can mostly construct her deck with commons and rares, right? So, because you've got Dreamweaver, you have, so you've got Dreamweaver. This one, obviously, you want to play with it. Okay, so I take that back. So, FUNA and then Phantasmaclasm are the Majestics you'd want to play. But otherwise, you have Phantasmify rare, you have Enigma Chimera as a common, Dreamweavers as a common. Going back up, you have the majority of her cards, so commons all the way up to here. All the way up to here are commons. So you've got Herald, Harrods, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know that you play most of these. I think you would play most of these as red and blues. A couple of these, like I think Rebirth and Tenacity probably plays reds only. But again, anyway, my point driving home, I kind of got off. Well, it's in line. It's in line to stick with me. My point is, I'm not really looking forward to specifically pulling any illusionist cards this weekend. The reason being, like I said, is I think it's going to be relatively cheap to put those together. So, like, if I walk out without it, like if I get a beatdown or I get a Phantasmaclasm, freaking phenomenal, right? But I think that functionally, for the next 2 months until I get some unlimited, I think functionally, like, I'm okay playing a budget illusionist, right? I mean, for the most part. So, Warrior, on the other hand, Bolton, on the other hand, is the opposite. I think you need most of his Majestics. So obviously Raid, I'm hoping Duskbane will in the end. So that is my number. But Duskbane, by the way, is my number one card. Just that's the card I want the most because it'll enable that strategy for him. However, functionally, like, I think that it's going to be a lower priced Majestic because you only need one of them, right? Whereas most of the others you need 2 or 3. So I think functionally, like, it'll be easier to find and or trade for Duskbane, I think. And maybe not early because a lot of people they'll want that so they can enable their strategy. So the demand early will probably, so that's fair. The demand early for Raiden will probably be high. But in the long run, again, you only need one of them as opposed to 3, right? So I think most of the weapons will over time, especially once Unlimited comes out, I think over time those will, be significantly less than the others. But the rest, I think, like V of the Vanguard, I think maybe V of the Vanguard should be my number one over. It's just functionally I want the Duskbane because he can't play the Duskbane strategy without it. But V of the Vanguard is going to be it's a key card for him. So there's V of the Vanguard. I could live without Lumina Ascension because I want to play the Duskbane strategy, and I think Lumina is probably better for the axes. And then you have Dusk Path Pilgrimage and stuff that can help do what you need for Duskbane. So I'm okay. I mean, obviously I think you want Lumina, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like the early going for it, I don't know that one fits in. The Beacon of Victory, I think I can live without. But Bolting Blade. So, I mean, you're looking at these 3 right here. These 3 right here are without a doubt on the top of my list for what I'm hoping for this weekend. And then of course, I mean, don't forget that, you know, we're looking at limited packs and going into opening, even our, you know, even go to the next weekend, release weekend, opening our packs. Like, you know, if you get a case, you're gonna have most of what you need in terms of rares and commons. That's my assumption. I think most people are on the case type. Most people out there are on the case type level, if not more than one. So, you know, I'm not really focusing in on the rares and the commons as much. Celestial Cataclysm, I would like. I don't think this card, like this card is very easy to think of as an E-Strike for obvious reasons, even just visually. But functionally, Cataclysm, I don't think you play in Bolton. I think you only played an Illusionist, right? Which means that it's essentially like you know, usually the generics, and again, so it's not even a generic to begin with, it's a generic light, but usually your generics are way expensive and high demand because they can go in anything. This one can't, and then like I said, I think functionally it doesn't play in Bolton, so it's basically the same as a class card. So I think that, and it's not even super essential, it's really just kind of an icing on the cake type card. So I don't think Cataclysm is going to end up being as expensive as maybe we would think it's going to be. But again, if you open that, I think you're going to be happy, or I would be happy with what I'm trying to do. But that one's not like, oh my god, my buddy pulled it, I have to give him a trade so I can get it. Like, not as if like if somebody pulls a Raiden, I'm going to like, please trade me, whatever. Phantasmacosm's kind of in the same boat. I think like this is pretty damn good key strategy card. But for Warrior, Spill Blood is one that I think is going to be pretty popular. I mean, I don't think, I know that one's going to be pretty popular. This card, like if somebody gets it, they're going to be thanking the people in the sky for that one. Shadow Brute, I mean, again, we're talking me personally here. Like I'm not attracted to the Brute either aesthetically, thematically, or really play style. So most of what I hope I open a bunch of the good stuff for Brute so that I can help Josh out. Now Josh already has one of these because we got the preview card and I sent it to him, so he has that already. So I think that takes care of that side of things. But Shadow of Blasphemous, it's pretty good. And then from the Runeblade side, the problem, I mean, not the problem, but the reality of Runeblade is that, again, you need so many of those pieces that, like, I don't think pulling, like, one Shadow of Ursa, or I don't think pulling one of his pieces really helps you out that much. Like, you kind of need them all. So at that point, you're almost definitely in, like, trade stock area as it is. So you kind of just need to increase your volume of Majestics and then try to get something, like, try to get that Raiden so Andrew can trade you something, right? That's pretty much your strategy there, because I don't think, like, even with your one or two cases, I don't think you're going to probably get all of the stuff that you need in the depth that you need it. Like, you're going to be missing one or two of something. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So, yeah, because I think he's got a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving pieces from what I can see. However, he's got cards like this that you're going to get a ton of, and Consuming Volition from the last set, and yeah, this guy's going to be a beast. This guy's going to be a beast in real play. I mean, obviously anything legendary you're going to be happy about. Like, let's not kid ourselves. But Brute, I don't know. So this one, I would actually like one of these, just so I have it available so I can try it. So I'd be really happy with the Dread Scythe, whatever. I'd be really happy with that one. That is one that I'm hoping to get. And then there's a lot of stuff in here. Well, so that's going to be equipment. But I'm imagining there's some stuff in here somewhere that is probably worth getting from an equipment standpoint. There's probably a Majestic equipment, generic, probably. But again, we're missing a lot of cards. We're missing a lot of cards here. But like I said, that I was just going through my list of the stuff that I wanted, and I hit on all of it. And you know, I mean, I was pretty clear coming in. I'm going to focus for this set. I'm going to be focusing on the light guys. Bolton's going to be my number one just because that's who I want to play. He looks fun to me. Looks like a play style I want. Looks attractive to me in terms of what speaks to me. And then there's no reason not to make Illusionist because I think you can do it for pretty darn cheap. So that's yeah. So anyway, we've been here for what? It's closing in on meeting time for me. So, and we've been here for about a half hour. So anyway, thanks guys for just joining me for this chat again. Hopefully this was, I know it's not as organized as my normal stuff, but figured I had some time and just chat and, get to see where my head's at. And we don't do stuff like this very often because we don't always have live stuff. So anyway, thanks for joining and thanks for watching if you made it this far. Again, hope everybody has a great time. Wishing you excellent luck in polls this weekend. Wishing everybody gets a raid in so that I can get a hold of one of those. So anyway, thanks folks very much for joining me. Best of luck this weekend. Hoping everybody gets 12 packs, meaning you're getting the 2 releases at different places, of course, because everybody follows the rules. But nothing else, folks. Go Commando.